Hello, community. Today it feels, at least to me, like we are all Jacob. We each have a dream, even if the clarity of that dream is veiled by our living nightmares. Our feet are on the ground near the base of that ladder, which is reaching towards the heavens. And if we listen and look and feel the air around us, we might be able to sense the angels going up and down that ladder. Angels clothed in the midot of ordinary people, like you and like me. Those sparks of God, angels in the form of humanity, remind us to take small steps up and down that ladder, wrestling in one moment to acknowledge the fear and the pain and the suffering, and in the next moment to open space for hope and overflowing chesed and possibility. It is one step up and two down, and sometimes two steps up and one down, and sometimes we lose our stepping and find ourselves crying out in prayer to creation for help in figuring out who we are meant to be and how we want to show up. I was reminded recently by a teacher of mine of what Rabbi Jonathan Sacks said about prayer. He wrote, "Prayer changes the world because it changes us." The Hebrew word for to pray, he wrote, is lehit palel, which means to judge yourself. We pray not simply for God to fulfill our desires, but in order to know what to desire. Only human beings are capable of standing back and passing judgment on their desires. And so, as students of Mussar and Judaism and life, we know that we do not have control of everything. But we also know that we have the capacity and the blessing and perhaps even the responsibility to choose how we show up. So let's just stand back for one moment and reflect. And should you wish, this might be a time. I invite you to share any responses to these prompts in the chat if you wish, so that we can see each other and support each other. The question is, how do you want to show up? How do you want today's prayer to change you? Which desires, which midot need to be calibrated or recalibrated during this time of war? How do you want to show up for yourself, for your friends and family, for the people of Israel, for all of humanity? Which soul traits do you need to strengthen in order to hold both that brutal inhumanity alongside this most precious notion that we are all made B'Tselem Elohim, in the image of God? Which spiritual muscles should we be exercising now so that they are ready, so that we are ready to manifest our personal prayer, and so that we're ready for what lies ahead? How do you want today's prayer to change you? Amanda Gorman, one of our America's youngest poets, in her hymn for the hurting, speaks of change. I just want to read a short excerpt because it spoke to me today. She writes, "Everything hurts. This alarm, this hurt, is how we know we must be altered, that we must differ or die, that we must triumph or try. Thus, while hate cannot be terminated, it can be transformed into a love that lets us live. May we not just grieve, but give. May we not just ache, but act. May our signed right to bear arms never blind our sight from shared harm. May we choose our children over chaos. May another innocent never be lost. Maybe everything hurts, our hearts shadowed and strange, but only when everything hurts may everything change. And again, we ask, how do we want today's prayer to change us? How do we want to show up for this tragic moment in history? I offer this prayer on our behalf to the creator of all creations. We beg of you to transform our prayers into good action, to give us the strength to balance the fear and the hope, the hate and the love, to remind us that Olam Chesed Yibaneh, the world was built on loving kindness, and that the source of all Chesed can be found within each of us, within our neshama, if we listen closely. We implore you, creator of all creations, that you safeguard the people of Israel and speed their healing. We pray that you will fill all of creation with blessings of peace and shalom.